Good morning, everyone. My name is Josh, and this is the Skype for Business recap. As usual, it's Friday, and well, I shouldn't say as usual. For those of you that are regular watchers, you know that my last show was delivered on this last Monday as opposed to last Friday. I recorded it last Friday. Unfortunately, as you would have noticed during the show, I was running out of battery, didn't have enough battery to get the recording uploaded to YouTube after I was done. And the embarrassing story there is that I had left the power cord to my laptop at the hotel that I was traveling in last week. Yeah, so I ran out of battery. And yeah, you would think I could have just gone into a computer store in town, got a new computer cord, and bridged the gap. But when you live in a very small town that is not near a major city, you'll find that the typical selection of power cords at Walmart don't always meet some of the custom power cord requirements that your newer laptops might have. So yeah, I was just in a pickle. Finally, via FedEx, my power cord arrived Monday morning, and I was able to finish getting the video uploaded. And and afterwards, you guys were kind enough to a few of you let me know that hey, my audio was off. I mean, my intro music was pretty loud, and then all of a sudden my mic volume was very low. So you guys had to turn the volume up to hear me. And then any kind of system sounds that alerted in the middle of the show, like low bat, were very loud because we had to turn the volume up to hear my voice. I'm not a guru when it comes to, or even someone that knows what I'm doing very well when it comes to balancing out the audio on a recording. So, luckily, Greg Sheridan, Office Servers and Services MVP, the great guy that he is, IM'd me. Well, he direct messaged me on Twitter and offered some advice. Took the time to learn my setup, did some research, and gave me some very good pointers and tips. So I think that I've got myself balanced out here a bit better. I've got my mic adjusted the way it needs to be, and I've adjusted the settings in the application that I'm recording with. So um, thank you, Greg. I hope it sounds better for everyone today. All right, so moving on from these technical issues that plagued me over the last week or so here, let's move on to the actual content today. Let me pull up my notes here. Excellent. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to shoot over to, well, first let's look at the board behind me. This is not all the topics. I've got several topics I want to talk about today. But as you can see, we've got Anynode SBC up here is one topic that we're going to be discussing. As you may well have guessed, this is an SBC. The next thing, MS16-065. Some of you may already be, unfortunately, intimately familiar with this bulletin. And this has to do with conferencing modalities not working because of a patch that was applied to fix a security vulnerability. We'll dive straight into that topic first. So let's go over to the infinity screen and then back over to here. There we go. All right. Again, I'll share all the links to these pages in my YouTube video description. As you can see, we had a problem. If you applied this patch to a Link Server 2010, Link Server 2013, or Skype for Business Server 2015 front end, chances are you are seeing problems with the conferencing modalities. Which modalities? We had whiteboards not working. We had PowerPoint presentation uploads not working. That's a big one. Sharing notes, polls, and Q&A. Now, I know that they are used in some cases, but, let's be honest. Polls and Q&A, if that was all that it affected, probably would have gone unnoticed for the most part, for a while anyway. But anyway, those are the modalities that were affected. For people that discovered this by installing the patch in their environment and running into these problems, they ended up, most of them, rolling back the patch, as you do normally during a time where you install a patch and it breaks your app. But taking a look at this here, we have some insight as to why the patch was actually deployed. The deal here is that a vulnerability existed in the TLS and SSL as they are implemented in the encryption component of the .NET framework. And so essentially, like they said here, like I have highlighted, an attacker who successfully exploits this vulnerability can decrypt encrypted TLS and SSL traffic. That's a problem, you know, so of course they needed to patch that. Obviously, they're not going to recommend that you don't have that patch installed because of the vulnerability. So what their recommendations are is a workaround. It's pretty much the same workaround for every OS. They just, not OS, application version. They just give you slightly different instructions in each case, but we're modifying registries in each case here to A, keep our vulnerability patched, and B, fix conferencing modalities. So if you are planning to deploy this soon and you can't wait because of the vulnerability, you can't wait for Microsoft to address this in a more clean way that doesn't impact conferencing modalities, then you'll want to plan in these registry updates on your front ends as you're applying this patch. So keep that in mind in your planning, all right? So that's that. MS16-065. And you see I put a hashtag in front of that. There isn't actually a trending hashtag out there in Twitter for that, but if you search hashtag that text in Twitter, you're going to see a number of tweets and articles all about this. So, okay, moving on. A product review by, let me scroll back to the top here, Randy Chapman. In his blog, Randy went ahead and gave us a full-fledged product review on Anynode SBC in use with Skype for Business. This is awesome. We're talking about a software-based SBC here, okay? And this Anynode, for many people, has just kind of shown up out of the blue, and most people weren't really aware of it till the last couple weeks here. Many of you might not have been aware of it at all yet. They don't do physical hardware SBCs. This is put out by TE Systems. They do this software SBC, and it appears to be a pretty slick, pretty competitive solution to some of the other hardware options that are out there. Randy later in his blog calls out that there are a couple other software-based SBCs. Audio Codes has one, and I think Sonus either has one or is going to have one of the two. I haven't done my research all the way on that side of things. But Randy starts things out here by giving us some background here, talking about ISDN versus SIP. Do you need an SBC? Do you need an SBC for Skype for Business? Talking about the importance of qualifications on applications or solutions by Microsoft, which is a very good point. Like he says, currently the vendors are in this space: Acme Packet, Anynode, Audio Codes, Avaya, Ferrari Electronics, and Sonus. So there you go. And then he gives you a link to all the other qualified devices. Next, we get into screenshots of actually going through and setting this up, connecting to your provider, and then connecting to your mediation server. If any of the writing is too small, just click on an image and you get the full screen there of it. You can read all the details on it. And scrolling all the way down past all his steps, we kind of get into the meat of his recommendations. What else does it do? Features. He points out that he doesn't have a feature comparison of any node versus the other competition, but it appears to do most of the core things you would want in an SBC. He said for what's wrong with it, he says he doesn't see anything wrong with it. He says it'd be nice to have an inline help menu as far as feedback for TE systems, and his verdict ends up boiling down to highly recommended. Now, Randy is well known in the community, good guy, smart guy, and if he says this is a highly recommended solution, then I would advise, if you are shopping for SBCs or putting together a plan or a new architecture, you'll want to throw this into the mix for consideration. Anynode looks like it could be a very good solution here. So thank you, Randy, for taking the time to review this and document it so thoroughly and carefully. We all appreciate it. Again, I will include the link to this review in my YouTube video description. Okay, moving on. Migrate Skype for Business announcements. This is a gallery posting here that Mark Vale has contributed. As you can see, Mark is a very active contributor to the TechNet community and the greater Microsoft UC community. He has put a lot out there that has helped people in many ways, from scripts to books to white papers. He's done a lot of stuff out there. So we thank you for your collective efforts, Mark. This in particular is a really cool little script here. He just put it out yesterday, so if you are not really familiar with what this is doing here, the audio announcements that are you might have recorded or put in place for like response groups and stuff, they are not going to automatically migrate to in a failover scenario. Like if you have paired pooling and you have some automatic failover happening there for voice, etc., these announcements are going to be left behind and you'll have to reset them up in your new failed over pool. That's kind of bulky and inefficient, right? And Mark agrees, obviously. So he created this script to go ahead and migrate those announcements over for you. Awesome stuff. Did a little bit of legwork for you. So now all you need to do is download a script and slip that into your disaster recovery plan for migrating things over from failed pool to new pool. So awesome stuff, Mark. Thank you. Going back a step here, I actually have the blog post where he documents all this for us. He has a link in here to the gallery. I'm going to give you the link to his blog post because he kind of gives you the background, why he made this, and then walks you through pieces of it here. Again, very detailed screenshots. Mark always does a great job with that. So thank you, Mark. Awesome contribution. Lastly, let's take a step over here. The Skype for Business app SDK preview is out for and available for download. This is really cool. This opens the doors for businesses to slip in Skype for Business functionality like IMs and audio video conversations right into their mobile apps. Just how cool is that? The example they give here is the whole telemedicine example that they gave at, where did they give this example at? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me. Whatever the dev conference was, I'm glossing over it here. But they gave this example from MD Live of their app having the Skype for Business functionality built right in so that they could do audio and video right there from their own app. That is powerful. That is huge. That really opens the door wide to bring Skype for Business to all kinds of endpoints and applications. And that's really this open platform, this ability to communicate across multiple different levels is really the goal here. We want to bridge gaps wherever we can. So very great working example that they provided. And as a developer, or even just as a strategist for your company's overall tech strategy, I'm sure you can already identify ways that this will help. Definitely, with reaching your customers, reaching your customer base, putting live tech support in a more reachable format right there. So very good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and unlock this screen really quick because it was actually providing a little bit of lighting for me. All right. Okay, so that's all I've got on it. It's a very quick blogs post at blogs.office.com. You can read through it yourself. You can go download it if you're a developer and want to start tinkering. It's there for the taking. So good stuff. I'm late today on the show, so Jamie Stark, his Skype for Business broadcast that he does bi-weekly is already taken place. I believe it should be over. I'm still going to include the link to it for you guys, though, so that you can go and watch the playback if you'd like. They were talking about networking, which is always a hot topic when it comes to setting up, deploying, and troubleshooting a Skype for Business or link deployment. So be sure to catch their episode today for some good insight and good information there. Again, I already threw a plug out there for this earlier and talked about my copy, but I've been making my way through this. Let me go ahead and get out of this screen mode, back over to infinity screen. All right. I've been making my way through this slow but sure. This is Enterprise Voice and Skype for Business Server 2015. Michael Tressler is the author. Really brilliant person when it comes to enterprise voice. He's worked on a ton of deployments and a ton of different configurations, and he is the man to have written this book. And it is what I've read so far has been super helpful and really breaks down a lot of these concepts in a very easy to understand way with good working examples. So I'm enjoying my copy. If I were you guys and you're looking to really dig deeper in enterprise voice, maybe dust off the shelves on your enterprise voice knowledge, get caught up with what's new in Skype for Business versus Link, grab your copy of this book. It's in paperback and it's also available as an ebook via Kindle. So yeah, check it out. Michael did a great job on it, and again, nicely done, Michael. I appreciate very much being able to dig into this. So that's all I got. I mean, when I say that's all I got, it was a lot of information. I feel like I'm talking it, 100 miles a minute here, but I was trying to squeeze it all in as best I can with my brain being scattered. Apparently, coffee number 2 is somewhere on the near horizon for me. So, hope this has been informative, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm actually getting it out on Friday this week, and I hope we'll see you back here next Friday for the next Skype for Business recap. Thanks, and have a good weekend. Adios.